Welcome to you, my name's Dayle and this is Dayle's Addiction. Today's video is a bit of a reflective journal of how I got to spending $300 on a luxury handbag to $8,000. And when you think about the gap between those two numbers, it has you thinking about the very first time that you were uncomfortable in handing over your hard-earned coin for a handbag. And I was prompted to do this video by a question that was sent in for my recent Q&A, which I will link up above. And I have been procrastinating because these videos take a long time to put together, just trolling through old photos on my phone and different devices and kind of putting in place a sequence or timeline, and then the editing that I'll have to do to get this video up. And usually the videos I put the most work into oddly get the least engagement. So this one's for me, and hopefully you enjoy it too. So I want to start with a bag that I recently shared on Instagram, and if you don't follow me there, please do. I am getting way better at posting regularly. I do outfits of the day and I do some sneaky unboxings there as well. So if you're here on YouTube for a little bit of luxury and you like unboxings, then follow me on Instagram too, because you'll see that I do sneaky unboxings there from time to time. And this was one of them in a recent lockdown, and at the back end of doing that tag video that I referred to earlier, I thought I'd get online and see if I could find the bag that I think kind of started it off. And you will never guess, I've found it listed on eBay. And the bag I'm referring to, and I don't even know the model name, it was not something that I was interested in at that time. This bag is a Guess bag, and it hails from about 2005, 2006. So I'm going to take you like on a 15-year journey of my handbag love affair. I remember I used to work with a woman who, and I would have called her a girl back then, in my mid-20s, and she had this amazing Guess bag, and it wasn't too dissimilar to this. A lot of their styles are pretty similar, and I used to think that is rock and roll, like I want that bag. And I remember going to a boutique locally because getting Guess was really hard, right? And there would be limited releases, and anyhow, this bag popped up and I'm like, that's the one I want. Look how loud it is. It has leopard print. It has a metallic snake leather trim. It's got this massive big Guess logo. It's got chains on it. Inside, you know, it's just beautiful. Anyway, the price tag was close to $300, I remember. I think it was around $280 to $300. And I nearly died. Holding this up is actually quite heavy. I nearly died, and I remember calling my then partner from the boutique and saying, I have just found this handbag that I absolutely love, but it's $280. Would that be okay? And he said, oh, well, look, if you love it, buy it. Like, you're the only one that knows if it's going to be worth it. And I remember buying it, and it came in a dust bag, and I thought that was the most special thing. It was stuffed, and I used that bag every single day. And that's when it kind of started for me, and I used to visit that boutique regularly. Now, I bought this bag. This is not the bag that I'm referring to. This bag I found on eBay literally by typing in 2005 leopard print metallic leather Guess bag, and it came straight up, and it was literally 30 kilometers from my home. Could you believe it? I picked it up for $30. And you might say, well, why did you buy it? And I think I was curious. I wanted to have a look at this bag again and see if I could see what I loved about it 15 years ago. And although this one, you know, is worn a little bit and some of the gold has kind of worn off the hardware, I think it still rocks. I think when you look at how fashion has evolved now, this bag is still kind of current. You could wear this bag, absolutely. And that was the beginning of my love affair with Guess. So I haven't got all of the bags that I used, obviously, because I don't keep things. But the next bag that I'm going to share with you is also a Guess bag, and I'll just zoom in on me. This was on a hens weekend of a great friend of mine at the time, and she loved the football, and so part of her hens weekend was going to the football, and she supports a local team called the Cowboys. So if you want to know what's on my t-shirt, that will explain things. And the bag that I'm holding here is a very loud silver version of a Guess bag too. So I'll see if I can zoom in, and you can see there I am, flared jeans, so you can definitely tell the time frame. And again, a handheld bag, took it everywhere, absolutely love it. We're all wearing flared jeans actually, like that's just, hilarious. So and that wasn't too far. That would have been around 2008 that photo was taken. And then I have another bag, and this one probably would have been around the same time frame. It's Guess as well. Another handheld, and that's my dad. Another handheld red Guess bag in a red patent leather. So very, very loud bags. Lots of glitz about them, and that's what I remember carrying for quite some time. It was about that time that I started working in the resources sector, and so using handbags kind of was just something I did for events on the weekends, because through the week I would take a quite a heavy structured backpack with my laptop and work things and lunch and all that kind of stuff. So the next big event in my bag collecting days was the purchase of my Coach bag. Coach had opened a boutique in my city, and I remember walking past. It's no longer there. It's back to being a concession store in a department store. But I remember walking past and thinking, oh, one of these days I am going to buy a Coach bag. And the bag that I loved, and I'm just scrolling through my phone here, the bag that I loved had a full price tag of around $1,400 or $1,500. And I'm like, there is no way I can justify paying that for a bag. I walked past and I decided to go in, and it was magical. I couldn't believe the quality of the leathers. I couldn't believe the beautiful colours, really appealed to me. And I selected a bag to have a look at, and when they brought it down, they said this bag is 40% off. And I said, I cannot do maths. I'm a little bit excited here. Can you tell me what that brings the price down to? And it was around $750. And my husband now and I looked at it, and he said, it's lovely, you should buy it. And so I bought that bag, and here's a picture of me on the first day that I was wearing it. So it was a Coach, I don't even know the style of it, and it had this kind of ribbed effect. It was in like this hot pink, which was a cool pink. Here's another picture of it here, which was, it looks a little bit red there, but that's not the colour of it. And it kind of was so cool that it went with all of my outfits. So here's a picture of me wearing it with my parents. So yeah, I used that bag so much that I wore all the leather off the base of it, because it was quite slouchy and it didn't have feet. And, I used it. It wasn't something to be kept for best. I used it, and I used it really hard. So I doubled my spend then. Okay, so I'd gone from about $300 to around $750, and that was a significant jump for me. Now I'm starting to get into proper job luxury territory, meaning that I've moved into buying from the boutique. And I shared this story recently in a video, and I can't remember which one it was. It was my Q&A video, and it was my first purchase from the boutique from Louis Vuitton. And here is a picture of me wearing that bag styled up. It's my Speedy. It's a 35 I think we've landed on. This is me at Johnny Depp's Star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And another Burberry trench that I love. And this doesn't look like a huge bag there, but it feels like such a big bag now. So to put that into perspective, here is that bag now. I still have it. It's been to the spa because I did not look after it. It's in the ivory epi leather. It's been repainted, so it has this kind of, it just changes the feel of the leather. I have kept it. I very, very rarely use this bag. Some days I'll be feeling sentimental and I'll go and get it and I'll take it out with me if I know that I don't need to be hands-free for anything. Now, this bag my husband and I both bought together as my Christmas present, and it was $1,400. So the next bag I purchased around the same time. So you can see things, once I kick off the habit, things kind of keep rolling in. And this one I found on eBay, and it was shortly after I'd bought my Burberry trench coat, which was in the photo that I just showed you. And I had a real thing for Burberry, and I found this bag secondhand on eBay. I no longer have it. I've sold it on. I don't even know what it was called, but it's some kind of tote. And here's me visiting New York City, getting the mandatory brownstone picture, pretending like I lived there. And again, I loved that really magenta pink colour. I'm sounding like, oh, Amelia Rose and I had something in common. I loved it. I thought it was a neutral. I loved the check. I thought it went with everything because of the neutral base of the check. And again, another great tote, and I could use it for work, and it was great for holidays. I went on the trip of a lifetime with one of my best girlfriends. We spoke at the Christmas or the New Year's of 2011 to 2012 and said we'd both really dreamed of going to New York, and literally 3 weeks later, the gods answered our call and the airlines had sales to New York City. I rang her. I said, I'm coming. I'm going in May. Are you coming with me? And she said, oh, I'll come back to you. And she said, actually, no, just book it. Just book it. And so we went for 10 extraordinary days and we lived like queens. Our dollar was at a point where I don't think it had been in many, many years, where our dollar was equal to the US dollar. But the US dollar was buying more than our dollar. And so it was a perfect time to go for a shopping trip. On that trip, I bought my first Chanel bag. I remember it was my last full day in New York. My friend had gone to go and buy presents for her kids, and I was wandering around, and I had pretty much spent my spending money, but I hadn't touched my credit card. And I walked down Fifth Avenue and I walked into Bergdorf's, and I saw this bag in the Chanel section, and I just thought, wow, I used to think that Chanel was for grown-up people. And at this time, I'm in my early 30s, but I'm thinking Chanel is not for me. And to some extent, I do feel like a lot of Chanel bags are not for me. However, when I saw this, I said I could get my head around this as my first Chanel bag. In fact, my only Chanel bag. And I thought they held it for me, and I walked up to the boutique on Fifth Avenue and I wanted to buy it from Chanel. And so I asked about this bag. I had the style number and they found one out the back. Now, the gift wrapping, I have to say, wasn't as great as it is now. It was I still have the box, but it's not a magnetic box. You pull the lid off the box. The style number was on a sticker. It didn't have all the beautiful tissue paper. It was just in a dust bag, wrapped in tissue, and that was it. It wasn't the big unboxing experience you get now. And I couldn't take any of that home with me anyway because I had to pack 10 days of shopping into my suitcases. So I picked this bag up for the grand price, again doubled my previous handbag price of $3,500. And when I think about that now, $3,500 for a brand new from the boutique seasonal lambskin bag, fall winter 2012, I think, or it must have been fall winter 2011, because I bought it in 2012 in the spring, so it was old stock. Like, I should have bought 10 of them. Well, I couldn't have, but the price was crazy. So I don't think I'll ever be buying another bag like this for $3,500 new from the boutique. Boy, have I used that bag. Here's a picture of me wearing it at a race day. Here's a picture of me wearing it on a trip to Adelaide. Again, they've got kind of a theme. They're all kind of winterish outfits. Here I am wearing it quite recently. Again, another winter picture. With some girlfriends on a night out. Again, another winter picture. So that bag has been used. I have not babied that bag. That bag has tweed stitching in it. It has been used. All of my bags are used, and I guess from $300 to $3,500, which was my most expensive handbag to that point in time, it all seemed to me okay to use those bags, and it did not stop me from using them at all. Now, I bought these bags before I started watching YouTube, so something to note, I always purchase things that I really liked. None of them were influenced buys. So you could say my safe zone for purchasing handbags was no more than $4,000 for some years. In fact, the first bag that kind of broke through that threshold for me went straight up to double again. And it was in 2018 when we were holidaying in Europe again. Our last port was Barcelona, and as a result of that I saved my shopping till then, and also their VAT refund was much more generous, around 14%. And I got talked into purchasing a classic. So I bought the reissue in the black calf with the ruthenium hardware. I bought it because I could get it for a good price. It still worked out to be around $8,000 Australian when we converted the euro, and then I think I got around $600 back. I hardly ever used that bag. It wasn't the right bag to purchase. I felt good about buying a classic from the boutique for that price. But the reality was it was like buying a beige bra for me. It was something I felt like I should do, not something I felt like I really wanted. It was a responsible purchase. And the irony of that is it was an irresponsible purchase because I didn't love it and I wasn't going to wear it. So later that year, I put that bag on the side and I started madly looking on the pre-loved market for jumbos, and that's when I started watching YouTube. So not that long ago, only 2018. And the jumbo was the bag that seemed like it would be the most perfect classic for me. And after the first time researching a bag, I purchased my jumbo pre-loved from the Purse Affair as a full set with the black caviar with silver hardware. And I still have that bag, and this is my pick of the bunch in terms of the Chanel classics. And this was around $5,500, and I felt much better about purchasing this bag for the functionality, for the look and feel, for the fact that it was a classic, pre-loved at that price compared to a brand new classic flap, even though it was heavily discounted because of the tax saving that was the reissue, So that's when I started to get pretty serious about my luxury handbag addiction, I'd say. That's when I popped over the threshold of around, the $4,000 mark on a consistent basis. So I guess you could call it my new benchmark in terms of what I expected to pay for bags had changed. Not that I thought that they were worth it necessarily, not that I thought it was value for money. I just had a different expectation around what a bag was going to cost, and if I was in the market for one, to expect that it might sit around that price range. So that brings me to today, and in that reflection I'd forgotten that I'd paid so much for that reissue. However, in any case, today, this year actually, I have purchased 2 bags that have made me feel rather uncomfortable at a whole new level. And the one that I'm going to share with you was the one in the thumbnail, which was my Chanel 19. And this one's in the medium size, which is the smaller size of the 19 bags. And this one retailed for 8,030 Australian dollars. And I knew that. And that is a lot of money for a handbag. And why did I think that that was okay? Well, that's what the price is. And if I want the bag, there's not a significant saving on the pre-loved market for 19 bags. That was before I knew that this was going to be a hyped colour. I just wanted a bag in this colour, and I wanted a 19. The fact that it was hyped was, off of my radar anyway. I don't buy into those, unicorn hyped bags and have to have one. And I found that by purchasing this bag, it ticked a few boxes. It was a bag that I really wanted. I'd tried many 19s on, knowing what the price was, but confident that I loved the style of it, and I just needed to find the right colour for me. And so I bought it, and I don't have any regrets about it. Do I think $8,000 for a handbag is a lot of money? Absolutely. Is this a bag I use every day, like the other bags that I've shared in this video? No, it's not. I'm at a point now where I've got about 29, 30 luxury handbags, which is a lot, so that I can rotate these around, and I don't see the wear on my bags that I would have done when I had one bag that I used all the time. So what do I think is better value? Buy one bag and wear it until it's disintegrated and it's no longer fit for public consumption, or a number of bags that I can rotate throughout my collection and manage the wear and tear on them and preserve some of the value associated with them. And for me, it's never been that much of a thoughtful venture. It's never been that strategic. It's just something that I guess I feel more comfortable with, because I know I'm not going to put the wear on this bag that I would have put, or that I did put on this bag, as an example. It's fair to say that the days of me using one bag over and over and over again are long gone, unless I decide to go down the minimalist path, which I can tell you now is not going to happen. It's not in my DNA. It's called an addiction for a reason. At least my channel is called that. And so that's how I got here. What has changed in that time in terms of my personal circumstances? Yeah, I have more disposable income. Yes, I have finished my study. Yes, I have taken care of some other big life expenses. And I don't think you need to justify or apologise for what you're interested in. And I started a YouTube channel because I have no one to talk to about this stuff. I have a couple of friends who share the same interests. Absolutely, but I think there's nothing like being fully embedded in, the people who watch these videos, like I did, and getting the same kind of excitement and joy around sharing our tips and tricks, what we've bought, what we love about it, what we don't like about it, what's coming up. I just find it all really fascinating, really interesting, and it's much more... I think it's much more inclusive to be buying handbags than it is to buy ready-to-wear fashion, for all of the obvious reasons. If you're a heavier set person like me, you can't really enjoy the fashion, but you can enjoy the bags, and that's where I'm at, and that's where I'm going to continue to be at. So I'd love to know from you, where did you kick off on your bag addiction, and where are you at now, and how do you feel about it? I think it's a great conversation for us to have. I'm glad now that I have filmed this video. I'm going to be throwing in all of these pictures and editing for ages, but it'll be worth it. So thanks for joining me. If you have liked this video, as always, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. I put out videos on Wednesdays and Sundays. So I'll see you next time. Bye.